Hey, what's up? I'm Pascal from Orangepixel and welcome to the last video of this year on this channel. And if you've been with this channel for a long while, for a couple of years now, you know that the last video of the year is a year in review or end of year video where I talk about how the year was for Orangepixel and myself. And honestly, I've not been looking forward to making that video this year because I had a terrible, crappy year. Let's dive into that after the intro. Okay, I'm not gonna make this a very long video, I think. Not sure, I'm gonna see that in the edit, I guess. So normally, okay, so I probably should have created some notes on what I want to say and how I'm gonna bring all this. Let's just start with the numbers so that everybody that's here for numbers and wants to know how it went financially can just leave the video and enjoy their holidays. Every year I try to make between 30,000 euros and 50,000 euros. 30 is like the bare minimum. My wife and I can live off that money, and 50,000 is comfortable, and everything above that is great. But also just means I pay a lot more taxes over that money. So I could just probably better spend my time pushing games to the next year. And that's how I've been doing it for the last 2 decades. This year also was my 20-year anniversary being a full-time game developer, being full-time Orangepixel entity, I guess, because I am Orangepixel and Orangepixel is me. Let's not go into that. But sadly, this has also been the first year, and mostly sadly for me, not so much for you, that I have not managed to reach the bottom of my goal, the 30,000. I haven't touched it, I haven't reached it, I haven't made that much money this year. Of course, I haven't released that many games in the last couple of years, but on top of that, mobile revenue has taken a huge dive. I think it's now at a third of what it was last year. I'm not really sure what happened and how quickly that went. But it happened. I only released one game, Guns of Power. It did pretty well and it made a profit compared to how much time went into development and resources. But it was also the first game I released since 2021. That's probably one of the problems. Of course, I had Regulator City, which I've been working on all those years. It had funding, but I still took way too long on that game. Haven't released it, but it's done now. So it's gonna be released early next year, but it took too long. And so I haven't really released enough. Of course, the market has also been a big problem. I have so many game developer friends that have seen quit the last year, that they just gave up. As some of these have been working on games for many years, but they just it just became too hard, and releasing games just wasn't, and releasing their game wasn't enough, or they couldn't actually work on their game anymore. They took too much time and they were already part-time doing other stuff. They now quit game development. They might come back as a hobby here and there, but as professional game developers, they're done. Which leaves a bad taste, because seeing everybody fall around you makes you very scared that you're the next one to fall. Of course, bigger companies had bigger problems with so many layoffs over the year. Money is expensive, so investments from publishers, investors, everything had just suddenly started drying up all at once, all at the same time. And that's causing some problems in the industry at higher levels. And that will eventually trickle down to where we are as smaller developers. For me, that means it's hard to find investors for my games, and it's nearly impossible to find a publisher that's interested in my games. So I have to go at it all alone, and that requires a lot of time, work, effort, and energy. And that brings me to the biggest problem I had this year. So, okay, so that brings me to the biggest problem I had this year. For the first... Okay, and I wasn't really sure if I was gonna talk about it in this video or how I'm gonna talk about it. I'm just gonna do it and we'll see where it ends and what I end up cutting out of this video. The first 6 months, pretty much 6 months of this year, I have been extremely depressed. Depression set in, not constantly. There were weeks I was doing okay-ish, but there were a lot more weeks where I was not doing okay. Now last year a lot of stuff happened in my personal life, in our personal lives. My mom passed away, my dad getting dementia, that's still an ongoing thing. Obviously it's not going away, it's only getting worse. Various other problems and things in the family that took a lot of time and energy from me beside working on my games. And I think that all compressed somehow and didn't get a release until I think last December, November maybe. It started to actually release inside my brain, inside my body, and just made it very hard for me to be happy. Depression is, I have never had it. I think it was the first time I really had a depression, and right now thinking about it, it's very hard for me to imagine what I went through back then. So I can imagine for people that never had depression or whatever, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Let's keep it that way. I really hope you keep it that way. It's been a weird phase, and I mean, the best way for me to describe how bad it was is probably by telling you that Aline, my wife, had was afraid many days to leave the house and leave me alone in the house, not knowing what would happen and if she maybe would return back home for a weird situation that nobody wants to run into. Now, personally, I never had that in my head or in my mind, but that's how it looked from the outside, I guess, towards other people that knew I was going through this. So it's been bad. It's been weird, crazy. I have managed to somehow keep my videos going, but I recorded them at different days than I usually do. I really tried to figure out that I'm sitting behind the computer, I'm feeling okay now. Let's record a video while I'm still feeling okay, so that there's a video. Okay, just editing the video now, downplaying this little bit. You might have noticed it on my videos. I stopped doing a lot of extra things. My clone copy sketches weren't happening anymore. It was mostly, the early videos this year was mostly me sitting and just doing my talking bit and not a lot of editing. It was done pretty quickly, pretty rough. So you might have noticed those changes, just downplaying it. So let's just continue. Game development, working on games still worked. That was my safe place, my escape. But every now and then or constantly your head is just thinking about a lot of other things, which made progress very slow, made it very hard to focus on things. And especially Regulator City, the game that I had to or needed to finish, but was running into things that the game just wasn't working. There were things I was just not happy with, and I couldn't fix that because I was not in a happy place myself. It felt too much of a struggle getting those things up and running. So I managed to get Gauntlet of Power created because I saw that as just something, as a hobby. I did most of that in evening hours or on the Sunday evening or on a Sunday afternoon, just to get my mind into something, focused on something else beside everything else that was going on. So that's really why a lot of things didn't get completed as quickly as they should have. Also, I wasn't pushing for certain things, business decisions and other things. The Switch version for Gauntlet of Power, I kind of left it with Serious Lion to just, let me know when you're done. And I didn't really push that because I really kind of hoped that would also release this last year. I just didn't really care. I wasn't pushing it. And a lot of other stuff, a lot of other business things, I just kind of let them go, let them slip, because I couldn't really push myself to do those things. Okay, so this is getting like a weird end of year review video, but that's where I've been this year. That's how my year was. And if you're a one-man company and you're not able to work, your company pretty much isn't working. So not a lot of things got out of Orangepixel, not a lot of things got pushed out there. I have been trying to make up for all that in the last 5 or 6 months. I think in June we were on vacation, I was still not feeling great. But the weeks after the vacation, things started settling. Maybe during the vacation already, or maybe a little bit before. it slowly started settling in again. I've been reading a lot of weird books on how to focus on the now and things like that. That really helped me get through the phase. Don't think about all the problems that are not here yet. Tomorrow hasn't happened yet. It's not here. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Yesterday already passed. It's gone. Don't even think about it. Who cares? All those kind of ideas and thoughts kind of helped me get my head straight, I guess. Yeah, so it's been a weird year. That's all I can really say. I haven't really done all the stuff I wanted to do, and I got a lot of ideas and things and energy for the stuff I want to do in the coming year. But honestly, right now, with how these last, I guess, 2 years have gone, last year a lot of things happened, and then the aftermath of that in this year, I'm at a point where Orangepixel really needs something good. I really need to release something that actually makes good money, and then I probably need to release 1 or 2 other games in the next year to actually get back on top of it, which is a scary thought. And then everybody around you quits game development because it's just too hard, and everybody giving up on it. That just makes my situation even more scary, to be honest. But luckily, even though that's all scary, I can keep a straight head for now. So far, it's been going great. So far, it's going great. I just have to really focus on things that need to be done and make sure that they get done. So I think I'm gonna do a video on that next week. I have a lot of plans. I have a lot of ideas, and I'm just gonna make the best of it in the next year. Now, normally I have pie charts showing you where all the revenue came from, but honestly, I don't really care. There's not a lot of revenue coming in this year. Like I said, mobile has tanked a lot. It has still been a big thing for me, but I don't know if premium games still sell. I still want to bring Gauntlet of Power to iOS and Android. I think as a premium game, I just don't know if it works. Speaking of iOS, almost all or most of my iOS games are now gone. Apple decides that at some point your game hasn't been updated since a year or so. We're gonna remove it, even though the game works fine. So I have to actually dig up my MacBook, see if I can maybe upgrade it to the latest macOS, so I can hopefully upgrade and use the latest Xcode, so I can hopefully use the latest iOS SDKs and update my games, even though those games are perfectly fine and I don't have to change the code. I just have to do all this circus thing that Apple wants me to do, or my games are gone. So that's happening. Also happens on Google Play over time, but I have most of my games on there still. Of course, we have games on Switch. Did a lot of discounts. Did a lot of discounts on Steam, and that helps. Gauntlet of Power did well. It could have done a lot better, obviously. So it reached its goal. I think I had my goal set on $10K dollars, and that was reached. Now, hopefully the Switch version does half that, maybe more, I hope. And then mobile, maybe a couple more. I'm still pushing the game here and there when I can, but I need a couple of games like that in the next year. So Space Grunts has to do equal numbers, and then I have to push 1 or 2 more games out there, and then hopefully a couple of Switch releases, and maybe we can do an Xbox or PlayStation release. But Serious Lion and I have been mentioning that every year, and we never get around to doing it. We're just 2 guys. He has all his own projects, I have all my own projects, and in the middle we have to meet to make these console versions happen. So that has been a little bit of a problem. There's so much stuff going through my head now. I also had a plan to work on a game with Haragoshi on my Discord, Nathan. That just fell through, but also I was struggling with all the stuff that was happening. He had things with his job going on. It just kind of fell off, and right now I just don't have the time, energy, and risk of working on stuff with other people. It's scary to do that. It's scary to make decisions right now, because you have to make the right decisions, and I can only spend my time on these things once. So yeah, I guess that's part of running your own business, and part of running a business. You have to make the right decisions at the right time, and I hope I can actually make those decisions in the coming weeks. as we go into 2025. I also expected something with my 20 years as Orangepixel, some sort of sale or discount or anniversary or things. I even contacted Steam to see if I could get some sort of deal with them, a week-long deal or a weekend deal or a daily deal. But they don't, honestly don't care about my numbers. My games, my numbers are too low. That's maybe another problem in this industry. Game developers are, sometimes it feels like game developers themselves are at the lowest rank of this business. Stores, PR people, marketing people, CEOs, they're all making the money up there. And then game developers are somewhere at the bottom. Do your job, create our games, we will release them and you'll get paid. But if you're not doing good numbers, or not doing your job good enough, we'll just get another couple of developers in and they will do the job. And so yeah, I've been in the industry and I've been a game developer for 20 years, and I think, and I know it's an achievement, because I know there are very few game developers in this situation, but also nobody else cares. So in the end, it doesn't matter if you're a game developer for a year or for 20 years, whatever, just create games, release games, and try to make money from it. I'm not even sure where I'm going with this. I'm gonna end this video so you can enjoy the rest of your holiday. A couple of days left in this year, and then I will see you in the next year, I guess. Yeah, let's hope it's gonna be a much better year than the last couple of years have been for all of us. All right, bye.